So after playing Resident Evil in its entirety in VR, I am absolutely in love with this way of playing. To be able to shoot where you look and to physically lean around corners is absolutely amazing. And I couldn't imagine playing a game like this any other way now. The problem with Resident Evil 7 is that it's too scary of a game. So most people won't even dare play this game in VR. Therefore, we who have ventured into the darkness should speak up about this new, amazing technology. VR is definitely the future of gaming in my opinion. It's also the most immersive you will ever get, taking control of almost all your senses. It's almost impossible to explain how VR feels or works, but I'll give it a try. Imagine that instead of a screen being projected in front of you, a virtual environment is created around you. Your point of view is controlled by where you look and where you move your head. This is all rendered in 2 images to give you a stereoscopic view. And your brain has a really hard time convincing you that it's not real. Also, the sound is very important in VR. That's why the headset has its own audio plug.
You have new messages received yesterday at 8:37 p.m.
But there is something magical about VR that can't be explained, like feeling the descent of an elevator, or the warmth on your skin from the exploding spaceship. It's only your mind playing tricks on you because of what you hear and see, and that's the true magic of VR immersion. I was a little taken aback at how little uncomfortable VR was for my eyes. I used to get eye fatigue really fast with 3D TVs, but for some reason I can wear the VR helmet for hours without getting any discomfort. Also, I was surprised to learn that apparently I don't get the dreaded motion sickness, the VR sickness. The PlayStation VR is really easy to set up and stow away. The VR box unit sits comfortably beside your PS4 unit, the camera sits nicely under your TV, and the headset with its 3-meter extension cord can be easily disconnected, and when you're not using your headset, just stow it away. Also, you don't need as much space as one would imagine. 2 meters between you and your TV is probably more than enough. In feet, that's about 6 feet. There's 2 ways of playing VR. There's sitting and there's standing. When you're standing, you might need to clear out a space approximately 2 by 2 meters. And to do that, you might have to remove your lamp or maybe take away your table. There we go. In standing mode, the game will mostly leave you in one spot, urging you to physically move around in the little space you got. This is the game mode you want to use move controllers to interact with your environment. Batman VR or job simulators are prime examples of this way of playing, and maybe also the ideal way to showcase VR. But this way of playing leaves you with some of the same problems as playing with a Wii or PlayStation Move controller standing before. You're standing, you're being physical, you're moving around, and you're more likely to actually get tired. Also, when you're standing, motion sickness is much more common because your legs would like to compensate. Ask yourself, would you stand on a roller coaster? I believe the more common way of playing in the future is actually sitting. In this position, you only need about 140 to 120 centimeters between you and your camera. This would be the way to play any game where you're sitting in a cockpit or moving your point of view freely. This would include cockpit games like Drive Club, Valkyrie, or first-person games like Farpoint or Resident Evil 7. But also third-person games where you are more the casual observer floating in the sky. I also think that this mode of playing is less likely to get you sick. Think of it like sitting in a carnival ride. You're safely strapped to your seat while the ride moves around. It might feel weird at first, but it takes a very short time to get used to. If you get easily motion sickness by car, boat or carnival rides, the possibility of you getting sick in VR are very high. If you usually don't get motion sickness, you might not get sick in VR either. Or you might just need a short session to adjust. So not everyone are affected by the dreaded motion sickness. And even if you are, some games take a lot of precautionary measures to make them less discomforting. Luckily, as I said, I found that I'm not affected by motion sickness while playing VR. I could play sitting with all the VR sickness options off for hours without feeling any discomfort. So what about the setup? Some reviews complain that the setup process is tedious, but I did not find it that difficult. Yes, you do have to do an initial setup every time you use it, but it's really not that hard. You plug in your headset, turn it on, you press the PlayStation button for 2 seconds, you go to adjust VR, conform your position, then just center the camera to where you want to sit, put on the headset, hold options button for 2 seconds, and you're good to go. The VR headset in itself is great. It's easy to put on and adjust, and it sits comfortably on your head. But checking your real environment with the headset on can be a challenge. I wish the visor had some sort of tilt function, like the motion night vision goggles would have. The only real alternative here is to take it off, or alternatively extend the goggles from your face as far as it goes. This gives a viewing gap under and over the visor. I find myself doing this a lot to check my phone and to find the remote. By the way, if you want to drink coffee while playing, you might need to use a straw. The PlayStation VR has a lower resolution than most of its competitors, but it's really not that bad. In the beginning I thought that everything was out of focus, but then I realized I just had the helmet on too low. You see, any VR lens will distort the viewing screen to simulate a wider view. That means that the edges of a viewport will be stretched, leaving them with less resolution than the center of the image. This will result in a sort of blurring effect in the edges. So if your regular view is blurred, you might just have to move your visor up or down a bit. Then it's the tracking, which works great when the light is ideal. Unfortunately, I found that there are several things distracting the PlayStation camera's tracking, leaving my image pulsating. Reflective surfaces and light sources in the background should be avoided. Some LED light bulbs might also have a flickering effect for the PlayStation camera, and if they flicker, you should probably turn them off because they will have a funky effect on the tracking. Direct sunlight is also not good for the tracking, so if you got curtains, use them. One would think that playing in the dark would be a good idea, but actually no. The light from the headset and the controllers would spill everywhere, tricking the camera. The best way is to have a normally lit room. Then it works great. But I do wish in the future that I would consider using IR LEDs instead, like the HTC Vive uses, because those are a lot easier to track and you don't have to worry about the lights everywhere. Also, a little comment on hygiene. Remember that this helmet sits on your face, close to your sweating forehead and your eyes, so you have to clean this regularly. Luckily, the rubber shield can easily be removed and washed under warm water, and the faux leather can be washed with a moist cloth. Just be careful when cleaning the lenses. Try only to use like a dry microfiber cloth, like the one that follows in the package. This is actually really cool. If you're having guests over to play with the VR unit, it's probably a good idea to have some antibacterial wipes ready, so that you can dry off the helmet after every use. There's not a big possibility of something bad happening really, but it's always great to be certain, because getting an eye infection is actually a possibility, even though it's a small one. And when that is said, just beware when buying a used headset. Remember that the previous owner's smell might be embedded in the strap. One thing that I do find is missing from Sony's side when it comes to the PlayStation VR is actually parts. Because it seems like all the different parts here, from the extension cable, from the VR box, from the rubber light shield, can all be removed and should also be able to replace them. Like for example, my rubber shield has a stinky aim, I want to get a new one. I can't. It doesn't work. The only way I can get a new one is actually destroying this and getting back on my warranty. You have to fix that, Sony. I am so excited for the future of this technology. It is absolutely amazing and more people has to try it. Not only am I excited for things that are to come, but I also hope that they actually will give it another shot at trying to implement this technology to older games. They say that you can't convert a first-person game directly into VR, and I get that. But I think there's so many games that would work brilliant, like the same way that Resident Evil is playing. Games like Firewatch, Bioshock, Gone Home, Dead Space, Soma, Alien Isolation, Layers of Fear, etc. are all games that would be awesome to be played with VR. But with that said, I just can't wait to see what's next, and I really hope that this doesn't die out like a lot of people are predicting. I really hope that this technology is here to stay and that it's just gonna get better and even cooler. What do you guys think? Did you play Resident Evil in VR? Or are you considering buying a VR headset now that we finally got a full 12-hour game in it? Let's continue discussing down in the comment section. Remember to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to, and I guess I'll talk to you later.